Hello, everyone. Welcome back once again. I am Nicodemus Kane. Today is September the 15th of 2022, and the weather is changing. It's getting colder at nights. I am feeling it. I'm feeling it in my bones. We're having to turn some of the fans down, turn the air down a little bit because it's getting a little chilly. I'm actually breaking out the blankets. It's getting to be that time of year. And all the leaves are falling off the trees too. Just wanted to mention that as well. The front yard and the backyard are starting to fill up, and the gutters are starting to fill up. So I'm gonna have to get out there and find some way to clean those. But it is changing. The seasons are changing. And there's definitely still something in the air, something happening, something coming. You can feel it everywhere you go now. It's like this, I don't know, energy, something. It's always like there's just something right outside of your periphery. It's always there. And I can't put my finger on it. There have been several others that I have heard that have said the same thing. Is you just can't put your finger on it. It's something that's right there. So I don't know. I don't know how else to describe it other than that. It is definitely some kind of feeling. Definitely in these days, we need to settle ourselves, humble ourselves, keep that full armor of God on at all times, keep our eyes open, and be careful, because it is a very evil time. I talked about this a little bit yesterday. I'm just throwing that out there again. Today, let's read Isaiah 42, and we'll just get into it. We'll just jump right into it. I'm not going to waste too much time. My mind is going a million miles an hour. I have so many different things that I have on my mind. Not just in my personal life, but in my work life, here at the house. Just a lot of different things. Just a lot of different things going through my head. And I'm having to sit down and sort through everything. So I don't really have too much to talk about as far as current events are concerned. And I don't know, I'm having a hard time finding the words this morning. I really am. I'm really having a hard time finding the words. So let's let God's word speak for us. Let's do that. Maybe, hopefully, he can pull me out of this weird mental malaise. It's a good word. Malaise that I am in right now. Hopefully. So, Isaiah 42. Behold my servant, whom I uphold, mine elect, in whom my soul delighteth. I have put my spirit upon him. He shall bring forth judgment to the Gentiles. He shall not cry, nor lift up, nor cause his voice to be heard in the streets. A bruised reed shall he not break, and the smoking flax shall he not quench. He shall bring forth judgment unto truth. He shall not fail, nor be discouraged, till he have set judgment in the earth, and the isles shall wait for his law. So there is a pilcrow. Well, I actually remember what it is now. Paragraph break right there. So going back and reading it again, it's pretty self-explanatory. I think you can discern what's going on here. Behold my servant whom I uphold. Whom I uphold. Can't get the word out. Can't get words out today at all, man. I've been having such a hard time. It's like I said, my mind is all over the place. Mine elect, in whom my soul delighteth. I have put my spirit upon him. He shall bring forth judgment to the Gentiles. Again, I think we know who he's talking about. He shall not cry, nor lift up, nor cause his voice to be heard in the street. A bruised reed shall he not break, and the smoking flax shall he not quench. He shall bring forth judgment unto truth. Judgment unto truth. If only we can get any judgment upon truth. Judgment unto truth in this life. He shall not fail, nor be discouraged, till he have set judgment in the earth, and the isles shall wait for his law. Again, I think we know exactly what this is talking about. Verse 5, Thus saith God the Lord, he that created the heavens, and stretched them out, he that spread forth the earth, and that which cometh out of it, he that giveth bread unto the people upon it, and spirit to them that walk therein. I the Lord have created thee in righteousness, and will hold thine hand, and will keep thee, and give thee for a covenant of the people, for a light of the Gentiles, to open the blind eyes, to bring out the prisoners from the prison, and them that sit in darkness out of the prison house. I am the Lord, that is my name, and my glory will I not give to another, neither my praise to graven images. Behold, the former things are come to pass, and new things do I declare. Before they spring forth, I tell you of them. Sing unto the Lord a new song, and his praise from the end of the earth. Ye that go down to the sea, and all that is therein, the isles and the inhabitants thereof. Let the wilderness and the cities thereof lift up their voice, the villages that Kedar doth inhabit. Let the inhabitants of the rocks sing. Let them shout from the top of the mountains. Let them give glory unto the Lord, and declare his praise in the islands. The Lord shall go forth as a mighty man. He shall stir up jealousy like a man of war. He shall cry, yea, roar. He shall prevail against his enemies. I have long time holden my peace. I have been still and refrained myself. Now will I cry like a travailing woman. I will destroy and devour at once. I will make waste mountains and hills, and dry up all their herbs. And I will make the rivers islands, and I will dry up the pools. And I will bring the blind by a way that they knew not. I will lead them in paths that they have not known. I will make darkness light before them, and crooked things straight. These things will I do unto them, and not forsake them. And there's another one, another break. Some of this stuff we have heard before. Some of this stuff brand new. Going back to verse 5. Thus saith God the Lord, he that created the heavens and stretched them out. He didn't wrap them around anything, he stretched them out. He that spread forth the earth, and that which cometh out of it. Spread forth the earth. He didn't wrap it around a ball. Spread forth the earth. I can even look that up too. just so that we know. Verse 5, he that spread forth to beat, stamp, beat out, to overlay, beat out, for plating, to make a spreading of. The land, dirt, soil. And he created the heavens and stretched them out. To stretch out, extend, to spread out, to be stretched out. Didn't wrap them around anything. Stretch them out. He that spread forth the earth, and that which cometh out of it. He that giveth bread unto the people upon it, and spirit to them that walk therein. He gives you the Spirit if you choose to walk in it. I, the Lord, have called thee in righteousness, and will hold thine hand, and will keep thee, and give thee for a covenant of the people, for a light of the Gentiles. I called thee in righteousness, and will hold thine hand, and will keep thee. Do not fear. The Lord has you. For a light of the Gentiles, for a covenant of the people, for a light of the Gentiles. Now remember, back then, there was still a heavy law that said that you stay away from the Gentiles. They don't get to, the bulk of them, the majority of them, don't get to come in and feast with us or be a part of us unless they choose to follow our laws, to follow our ways. Because at the time, the Gentiles were all those that were separated from the Israelites, from Jerusalem. But they always had the chance to come in. You just had to get rid of your old life, come in, and adopt a new life. This is talking about someone that will bring forth judgment to the Gentiles, that will be a light of the Gentiles, that they will see, and they will come to it, understand it, and want it. Especially those people that had been following graven images their entire lives, had been following the false teachings, had inherited the lies. Because I go by that saying when I heard it. The first time I heard it, it was, the Gentiles shall come back to the Lord in the end days, paraphrasing here, and they will say, surely we have inherited lies. That one has stuck with me. That was one of those verses that changed me, because it absolutely made me think, we have absolutely inherited lies that we have been told over and over again to not worry about God, not worry about being saved, that you only get one life, you only live once, that this life is all there is. You are nothing, you are meaningless, your whole life is worthless. You just, live as best as you can, idolize people of this world, idolize money, idolize power and fame. Surely we have inherited lies. And that was one that it broke me. It really, really got to me. It really, really made me think. But there will be one that will come that he will bring judgment to the Gentiles, that he will call him and those that, where was it at? The people, he will give spirit to them that walk therein, that they will walk in the spirit, and they will be a light to the Gentiles. They will be a hope. Bring them out of the lie and into truth. That's what it just says. That's what it just says right there. They will be a light and give them the truth and righteousness. Verse 7, to open the blind eyes. To open the blind eyes. To bring out the prisoners from the prison, and them that sit in darkness out of the prison house. Bring out the prisoners from the prison, to open the blind eyes. I am the Lord, that is my name, and my glory will I not give to another, neither my praise to graven images. Behold, the former things are come to pass, and new things do I declare. Before they spring forth, I tell you of them. There is nothing new under the sun. Everything that is happening now has happened before, in some way, shape, or form. And sooner or later, all of the former things shall come to pass. We will eventually degrade backwards to the point, to the days of Noah, where it was truly evil everywhere. And I still claim that it will be as totally evil as you could possibly think it is. We're not even close to being there yet. There are so many people out there that will say, oh, right there, look at this, look at that. And I say, no, it can be worse. It can be 100 times worse. The reason I know it can be 100 times worse is because there are still a lot of things that are hidden. I do actually believe that in the days of Noah, there was nothing hidden. It was all out in the open. When you talk about Sodom and Gomorrah, there was a lot of stuff that was out in the open. They were doing things openly. And Sodom and Gomorrah wasn't even half as bad as the days of Noah. But we are degenerating that way. We are degenerating backwards. We are getting close to the days of Sodom and Gomorrah, but we have to degenerate even further to get to the days of Noah. So we are not there yet. It gets worse. You have to have the full armor of God to be able to handle this, because it gets worse. He will strengthen you. He will hold your hand. He will keep you. He will give you for a covenant for the people. You have to understand, evil snowballs, and it runs through everyone and gets worse and worse and worse as it goes. And it picks off those that don't know any better. It just steamrolls right over everybody. This is why there was such a push back in the 50s and the 60s before people just stopped caring, to halt these things, to keep these things, these evil things, from coming in. But it happened. And it has only degenerated within the past 50, 60 years. Is your life better or worse because you allowed this freedom of life to come in? Is your life better or worse? Now, I could go into details, of course, and I could piss a lot of people off by going into details. You know, I could talk about the culture. I could talk about feminism. I could talk about sexual revolutions. I could talk about just about everything. And I could ask, is your life better or worse? Do you feel fulfilled in your life because you allowed these things to creep in? I don't feel fulfilled by this life anymore. That's just me. But I know that there's a reason why we were manipulated and tricked into all of this. But there's so many others that revel in it. But at the same time, I know they're not happy. I heard my friends. I've listened to people that talk about falling into these ways, and they're never fulfilled. They always want more, and they always degenerate more and more and more until they've given their soul over, until they've completely fallen. Perfect example. All right. So here's a story of someone I know, used to know. I don't know her very much anymore because we kind of fell off the map. It was a girl that I knew that was friends with some of the guy with a guy in a band I used to know. And very beautiful girl. Beautiful girl, had a pretty good head on her shoulders, knew what she was doing. At the time I met her, she was young. God, 17, 18. I was... How old was I back then? About 30, 35? I was grandpa metal. I got into the metal scene where I used to live real late in the game. I was about 30, 35 years old. But she was dating one of the girls, or she was dating one of the guys, sorry. She was dating one of the guys in one of the bands that I was, kind of hanging out with, being cool with. But I got to know her pretty well. And we had talks. She was really intelligent. I mean, she really had a head on her shoulders. She knew what she wanted. She knew where she was going. She knew what she was doing. And I said, you know what, man? If you follow that, you could be somebody important, somebody, worthwhile. You can make a lot of money doing... At the time, she was talking about doing show management. She was talking about, she was manager of the band. She was the one that, you contacted. She was contacting places for the band to play. She was talking about opening her own company, doing her own fashion design, she had all of these plans, really great plans. I was like, that's cool. It's awesome. So as she got older, she started falling more and more in with the wrong crowds, the wrong people. Wound up breaking up with this guy that was in this band. And she started hanging out with these other people that were openly atheist. I'm not going to say openly satanic because I don't really know, but they really were pushing that we can do whatever we want. These are our lives. This is our way. We can do whatever we want, go wherever we want. And I kept running into her, however many years later, and it had degraded from, I want to have my own company. I want to do my own thing. I want to have all this stuff, to she was working at a waitress at a strip club, then eventually started stripping. And I remember we met her out at a restaurant, and she actually was inviting me to come out and watch her. And I just was like, wow, what in the world? So, flash forward a couple years, and I was still friends with her on Twitter, and still friends with her on Facebook and all this stuff. She starts promoting herself on Facebook and Twitter. That not only is she stripping, but it was just whenever OnlyFans started coming out, and she was promoting her OnlyFans. And this was still, it was still to the point that I was like, what happened? And I actually, the last time I talked to her was about 6 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago. And she was just starting to promote that she was making videos of her having sex with a guy. And I was like, yeah, that's the natural progression of it. And then it was somewhere along the line, before I completely dumped everybody off of Facebook, before I completely dumped all my friends off everything, I happened upon a picture of her. And she had this pentagram tattooed on her. Big, huge monster pentagram tattooed on her. And the only thing I could think of was, that's what it was. She fell into evil, and it just snowballed. Snowballed to the point now where it's just, she's fallen away. All those hopes and dreams she ever had are gone. She's never going to get that back. She is, once you cross a certain line, that's it. It's done. It's and I don't know. I saw a picture of her a couple months back, and she had definitely gotten a boob job. I can tell you that much right now. She was definitely way bigger than I remember her being. She put on a lot of weight too. That was just like, what future is that? She had such hopes and dreams back when she was younger, and she just kept falling lower and lower into it. Such a beautiful girl. Now it's just, I look at those pictures of her now, and I'm just like, what in the world, kid? What in the world? There's other ones too. There's other girls that I know, other guys that I know, that they did the same exact thing. Just slow degeneration into evil. Guys that I know that used to have such a loving and caring relationship with their children, with their wife, happily married, good guys, really good guys that I'd, go over to the house, we'd hang out and be cool, we'd play some music together, do stuff, and then the next thing I hear, it's a divorce. And then the next thing I hear, it's like, it's satanic imagery everywhere. some of them have actually openly started worshiping Satan. And you wonder why I dumped all my friends. You wonder why I had to step away from all this stuff. But I've seen it. At least 3 different guys that I used to know. They have all abandoned their entire lives and are now openly evil. Openly worshiping evil and darkness. There are at least 1, 2, 3, 4, possibly 5 girls that I used to know that used to, be in that realm of, hanging out with the bands, and we would, I'd get to talk to them. That have fallen like that. I don't know. Out of the 5 of them that I know that fell, that openly worship Satan now, 2 of them became strippers. One of them now just does porn. So it is a snowball effect. You see it. Evil constantly snowballs. It constantly gets worse and worse and worse if you let it. And there was a point where people tried to stop this. Even in the 90s, there were people in my schools that would come in and tell us, stop doing this. The more you let this into your life, the worse your life is going to get, and it's going to keep getting worse. You have to quit letting it do this. So we are not in the days of Noah. Not yet. No, we're getting faster and faster. You can just see the snowballs. You can just see it pushing. We have not seen the levels of degeneracy that we could. But we will be. Unless people start pushing back now. There are people out there that they don't want to hear the truth. Even if they do hear the truth, they don't want to do anything about it. They want to sit on their hands and just let whatever's happening happen. There's so many people that are just sitting around waiting for a rapture. And we don't have to sit and wait for the rapture. We don't have to lose more souls because you want to sit on your hands and wait to be raptured by God. You were tasked with trying to save people while you're here, not to sit on your hands and wait for God to come back and fix it. While we are here, we are to preach the word. We are to go out and be strong in the word, be a light to those people. But there are so many right now. They just want to get on their Twitter and they just want to say, "Oh, God is coming. Oh, I'm so happy that it's going to come. Oh, when is it going to come? I'm so happy. I'm not going to try to wake people up anymore. I'm just going to sit here and wait for God to come back. Oh, it's coming any day now. Here we go. It's coming." And it's like, but what are you doing other than that? Are you even trying to save anybody? Are you even trying to expose darkness? Are you even trying to do any of that? No, you're just telling people that be happy that God is coming back. Praise God, he's coming back. And yeah, he's coming back. But that doesn't mean you get to sit on your hands and do nothing. There was one girl, I don't even know anymore. I think I I think I got rid of her YouTube channel. She used to sit in her car and talk for like 30 minutes at a time. And she used to have really good conversations about Bible prophecy, about, different things in the Bible. She would talk about these things, and it was really good stuff. And then it was about 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, it was before COVID, she got on the rapture kick. She got on the rapture kick, and she has not gotten off of it. Every single day, it's a new video of the rapture's coming. Here's why the rapture's coming. The rapture's coming now. Get ready. Rejoice, the rapture's coming. What do you do? What do you do while you're waiting for the rapture to come? Why, here's a prayer to say, wait while you're waiting for the rapture. And it just kept going, and it kept going. It's like, where did everything else go? You were so in touch with the Bible, with what it was saying. I was learning things from you. And then suddenly, out of the blue, you got into a rapture kick, and you've been stuck on a rapture kick for 3 years. And again, I'm not saying that there will or won't be a rapture. I'm saying that you can't focus on just one thing. You have to spread the message. And the worst part about it was her videos went from like 30, 45 minutes down to like 10 to 15 minutes of her just talking about be ready for the rapture. And it just kept going and kept going. And there's no truth in it whatsoever. There's no Bible study in it whatsoever. There's no anything in it whatsoever. There's no spreading the word, spreading the message, spreading anything. It's all, God told me this. God told me that. Get ready for the rapture. Get ready for the rapture. Get ready for the rapture. Now, I'm not saying that God is not giving her a message to say all that. But what I am saying is, she has given up everything that she was in order to be stuck on one thing. And there's no message there. There's nothing there. It's all the same. It's all the same video over and over and over again. That's why I had to stop listening to it. We're supposed to stay strong in these times. We're supposed to try to save as many souls as possible. We're not supposed to absolutely drop everyone in order to focus on something that's coming. We're supposed to focus on everybody. Pray for everybody. Pray for everything. Try to save as many people as possible. But people don't do that. We're supposed to try to fight this. We're supposed to be better than this. That's what the Bible tells us to do, is to be better than this. Be better than this place. And I'm not perfect at it. I'm not perfect at it at all. And I've seen so many people that have dropped everything. So many YouTubers that I used to follow, they dropped everything in order to focus on themselves. As soon as COVID hit, it was like everybody just stopped worrying about trying to save other people. And all they did was start worrying about themselves. And it was like, we need to still worry about other people. We still need to try to spread the message. No, I don't get it. I mean, I do get it, but I don't get it. It's crazy. It's just crazy stuff. Anyways, back to Isaiah. Verse 9, behold, the former things are come to pass, and new things do I declare, because only God can create something new again. There is nothing new under the sun. God creates something new. Before they spring forth, I tell you of them. He tells us all the time. It's in the Bible constantly. This is coming, that's coming. Sing unto the Lord a new song, and his praise from the end of the earth. Ye that go down to the sea, and all that is therein, the isles and the inhabitants thereof. Let the wilderness and the cities thereof lift up their voice, the villages that Kedar doth inhabit. Let the inhabitants of the rock sing, let them shout from the top of the mountains. Now, just for fun, Kedar, it's dark. Son of Ishmael, the descendants of Kedar, dusky of the skin or tint. Son of Ishmael. Let them shout from the top of the mountains. Let them give glory unto the Lord, and declare his praise in the islands. The Lord shall go forth as a mighty man. He shall stir up jealousy like a man of war. He shall cry, yea, roar. He shall prevail against his enemies. I have long time holden my peace. I have been still and refrained myself. Now I will cry like a travailing woman. I will destroy and devour at once. God's love and patience is eternal. But eventually, and he tells us this over and over again, sooner or later I'm going to have to pull the cork. Sooner or later it's going to get so bad that I cannot control it anymore. He did it before. He did. He let the world go for what did they say? 1,300 years. If you add up the first 12 men. If you add up their ages, it was like 1,300 years or something by the time Noah came around. He let it go that long, and it just, it cycled up pretty quick. And God said, when he flooded the earth, these people, it's just constantly evil. These people they've gone over the top. It's pretty bad. No flesh. All flesh is corrupt. No flesh is worth saving, except for Noah and his family. No flesh is worth saving. There's none of that. It's all corrupted. It's all bad. He let it get to that point. He let Sodom and Gomorrah get to that point. Abraham's out there saying, if even 10 were worth saving, will you save the city? Yes, I will. If I could find 10. Just 10 people. 10 people in the whole city. And you got to remember, Sodom and Gomorrah were huge. People flocked to these places. People flocked to these places because they loved living in their unrighteousness. That's the one thing that the Bible doesn't really talk about. Jasher talks about it. Some people don't really like Jasher very much, but Jasher talks about it. It talks about how the people, even though they didn't want to be there, they went. It's like Vegas. It's like Las Vegas. Why would you ever want to go to Las Vegas? In order to revel in the debauchery. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So people go there to have the experience of leaving something in Vegas. That's what you do. You go out, you do all the nastiness, and then you come home. You don't want to go there. You don't want to go there and lose money. That's stupid. Why would you want to go to Vegas, lose a crap ton of money, and then do whatever it is you do just to come home? And you have to live with that for the rest of your life. Why? Because you want to experience the debauchery of Las Vegas. That's why people do it. That's what, same as Sodom and Gomorrah, is everybody wanted to go there and live there because they wanted to be a part of it. no matter how bad it was. Even for whatever reason, the strangers that would come in and get stripped of everything they ever owned, and then they would be given a bag of gold, but they couldn't buy anything. That was a story that Jasher had. Think about that for a second. Was it real or not? I don't know, but that sounds exactly like the kind of evil that you would expect from a place like that. You know, it really does. It really does. But that's how bad he let it get. He said, eventually I'm gonna have to stop this. I'm gonna tell everybody right now, to stop this. I'm going to put my people out there, and I'm going to let my people tell you, if you don't stop, I'm going to destroy everything you have. I'm eventually going to, what does it say? I will destroy and devour all at once. He tells you this. Where did it say that exactly? Behold, the former things have come to pass, and new things do I declare. Before they spring forth, I tell you of them. I tell you before these things come. I will tell you what's going to happen. And I'm going to tell you right now, before it happens, I will destroy and devour all at once. I have a long time holden my peace. I have been still and refrained myself. But you have gone too far. This is where it ends. And even talks about this in Revelation, is about Babylon, the great city that has drunk of the blood of the innocents, and you've done all of this madness and darkness through the years. It has to stop. It has to stop. You listen to my saints, you listen to them try to tell you over and over again, you punished them, you persecuted them, you pushed them down. You spread your lies, you spread your traps, you spread your darkness. Okay, I'm done. That's it. It's it. We're washing it clean. This is what it says. This is exactly what it says. I will make waste mountains and hills and dry up all their herbs, and I will make the rivers islands, and I will dry up the pools. It says this in another part too, where it says that he will make all the waters go away until it is time to bring them back. And I will bring the blind by a way that they knew not. I will lead them in paths that they have not known. I will make darkness light before them, and crooked things straight. These things will I do unto them, and not forsake them. It said something else similar to that about making straight roads through the mountains, about bringing the mountains down and making straight roads to where he needs the people to be. I can't remember where it was. I think it was like 38 or 37. I don't remember. But it's the same concept. Verse 17. Let's keep moving. Wow. They shall be turned back. They shall be greatly ashamed that trust in graven images, that say to the molten images, ye are our gods. Hear, ye deaf, and look, ye blind, that ye may see. Who is blind but my servant, or deaf as my messenger that I sent? Who is blind as he that is perfect, and blind as the Lord's servant? Seeing many things, but thou observest not, opening the ears, but he heareth not. The Lord is well pleased for his righteousness' sake. He will magnify the law and make it honorable. But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses. They are for a prey, and none delivereth, for a spoil, and none saith, Restore. Who among you will give ear to this? Who will hearken and hear for the time to come? Who gave Jacob for a spoil and Israel to the robbers? Did not the Lord, he against whom we have sinned? For they would not walk in his ways, neither were they obedient unto his law. Therefore he hath poured upon him the fury of his anger, and the strength of battle, and it hath set him on fire round about. Yet he knew not, and it burned him. Yet he laid it not to heart. Oh, there's a lot of stuff on that one to unpack. Going back to 17. They shall be turned back, they shall be greatly ashamed, that trust in graven images, that say to the molten images, ye are our gods. Do we have to talk about all of these statues, all of this art that people have made, all of the obelisks, all of the all of the everything? Oh man. I had to take a drink of water. Can we talk about it? Can we really talk about it? About the graven images, the statues, the art everywhere. And it's everywhere, man. The paintings, not even just the sculptures, but the paintings, the apotheosis of George Washington, everything, every single bit of it, the graven images that you see on money, that I've said it once before. George Washington may or may not even be real. Some people will say he is, and some people can point to a thing and say, oh, look, well, he has writings, he has this, he has this, he has that, he has all these paintings of him. What if that's the beast? What if that's the image of the beast? What if the image of George Washington is the truest image of evil? Just throwing that out there. What if he's not real? What if he is? What if that's Nimrod? What if that's the most evil and vile person in the world? But they softened it up to make it look good. I mean, we've seen George Washington in several different places, looking like a god. The apotheosis of George Washington, the statue where he's sitting on the throne, where he is actually posed as Baphomet. What if there's something to that? These graven images. I'm just throwing that out there. You have to think. You have to think way beyond. You have to think like evil would think. If the devil really truly wanted you to worship somebody that's evil, he wouldn't come out and straight up say, worship this. Worship that. And he wouldn't give you the ugly, demon behind the eyes that, people don't want to see. He would give you something pretty. He would give you something, he would give you something that wasn't evil and satanic. He would make it appear as a child of light. He would make it appear as the best person in the world. I was watching a video, True Stream Media was just talking about George Hamilton. Or not George Hamilton, you hear me? What's his name? Andrew Hamilton? George Hamilton, fuck's sakes. Hamilton, they were talking about the musical Hamilton, and they were talking about, is it Alexander Hamilton? George Hamilton. They were talking about George Hamilton. They were talking about his tan. No, they were talking about Alexander Hamilton. Oh, it's too early. But they were talking about him, and they were talking about how, for whatever reason, they're pushing. There's a thing in New York apparently where they're letting low-income kids, urban, dwelling kids, go watch Hamilton for $10. So, these tickets are usually $100, whatever it is. But for a $10 bill, any kid, any high school kid can go watch this. And apparently there was some kind of an education board thing or something where they were saying, really pushing the learning and understanding of Hamilton. And there's a reason to it. They don't really know why. Even though, he was unfortunately supposedly one of the founding fathers, but at the same time, he was the one that caused us to have a centralized bank. He's not your friend. He's not your friend. But they're pushing this, that he was the best guy in the world. He was one of those, one of those good guys back in the day. But it got me thinking, because I've heard it before, especially when I was younger, actually, that George Washington wasn't a real person. They just made him up. In order to have a person that they could call the president that was a good person to be the first president of the United States. Somebody was actually saying, it's amazing that America fought for its independence from Britain, from King George, and then sure enough, the first guy that we put into power is named George. And then I think at the same time somebody was talking about the similarities between George Washington and King George. I'm not saying that is or isn't what it is. I'm just saying that was something I heard not only recently, but whenever I was younger, whenever I was a teenager. You got to remember, I was in conspiracies way, way back in the day. And I hung out with a lot of guys that would talk about a lot of stuff. You get some of those old Southern boys that, they would take you out to the bar and they would tell you some crazy things. I heard some nutty stuff. I really, really did. But I look back on that and I'm like, wow, that kind of makes some sense. That really does kind of make some sense. Anyways, that goes into the whole graven images, molten images, not just the statues, but the paintings, the art, everything we see around us. Just about every major city has an obelisk in it. Some of them have statues on them. Some of you have statues of things that just look freaky as hell. They don't make any sense. There's a statue of Baphomet. Now there is a damn statue of Moloch. These things exist in the world now. Again. Verse 18, hear ye deaf, and look ye blind, that ye may see. Hopefully you can open your eyes and open your ears. Who is blind but my servant? Or deaf as my messenger that I sent? Who is blind as he that is perfect, and blind as the Lord's servant? Seeing many things, but thou observest not. Opening the ears, but he heareth not. You can see and you can hear as much as you want to, but that doesn't mean you absolutely hear it and see it. The Lord is well pleased for his righteousness' sake. He will magnify the law and make it honorable. He will magnify the law and make it honorable. We're still talking about end time stuff. Remember this. He will magnify the law and make it honorable. But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes. They have all fallen into the traps of the evil men that we heard so many times in the Psalms. And they are hid in prison houses, which is going to be, that's the persecution. That's the persecution of Christians. They are for a prey, and none delivereth, for a spoil, and none saith, restore. I just want to know. I just got to know. 22. Therefore pray, and none delivereth, for a spoil, and none saith, restore, turn back, return. Return of spiritual relations. Return and repentance. And none say repent. And none say to go back. Who among you will give ear to this? Who will hearken and hear for the time to come? Who's going to hear it? Who gave Jacob for a spoil and Israel to the robbers? Did not the Lord, who we have sinned? Wait, let's try this again. He against whom we have sinned. For they would not walk in his ways, and neither were they obedient unto his laws. Who gave up all these people? Who would have done this? Who would have caused this? Was it not the Lord? Was it not God who we sinned against? Was it not him that we didn't walk in his ways? We weren't obedient to the laws? So he gave us up? Which is exactly what's happening. It happened then, it happened now. It's happening right now, matter of fact. We don't want to follow what he wants us to do. So he gives us up. He gives us up. He turns us away. Or he turns his face away from us. And we are given up to fall into the snares and fall into the traps, and puts us in the prison houses. No one is there for us. Because where was it at? Seeing many things, but thou observest not. Opening the ears, but he heareth not. You fall too far. And God says that there's nothing we could do for you. For they would not walk in his ways, neither were they obedient unto his law. Therefore he hath poured upon him the fury of his anger. You will hear that a lot in Ezekiel. Therefore he hath poured upon him the fury of his anger, and the strength of battle. And it hath set him on fire round about. Yet he knew not, and it burned him. Yet he laid it not to heart. So God decided he's going to pour his anger out upon the people. Poured the fire around about. And yet the people didn't see it. God's anger is everywhere, but the people chose not to see it. It burned them. It hurt them. It caused them to fall and stumble and lose all their money, lose all their whatever. Caused them to have their taxes raised. Caused them to have a carbon tax. Caused them to take certain... actually, as a whole, take certain medications that would hurt them before they could help them. But they didn't lay it to heart. They didn't know, because they didn't hear it. They didn't want to hear it. They didn't want to see it. And it all came because they chose not to honor God. They would not walk in his ways, neither were they obedient unto his law. So he caused them. He caused all of this evil and darkness to fall upon them. This pain, this misery to fall upon them. And yet they didn't know. It burned them, but they didn't take it to heart. I'm trying to find a better way of saying it. You're being hurt and destroyed because God is putting this on you. And no matter how bad it gets, you will not take it to heart that it's God doing this, because it's his anger. It makes me think of all of the suicides that have been happening, people that have just been giving up, people that we find out that they may have lived the best life that they have ever had, or they have done something where they thought, this is the best thing that I could ever do. But it's never enough for them. And they find out that it's not enough for them, and they kill themselves because they're just not happy. And we've seen that over and over again. We don't hear a lot of the suicides that come from the kids that have done like the gender changes, but it happens. 70% of all suicides, 70% of all transitional kids commit suicide because it doesn't fulfill them. It's what it makes me think of. You do everything in your power to make your life better. Drugs, hurting yourself. You remember back in the day whenever kids used to cut themselves? You remember when that was a thing? I don't know if they still do it or not. I'm sure they still do. But, I used to know a lot of cutters, and they say that it gives them clarity, peace of mind. It's like a drug. It's crazy stuff. But I always said, well, what is it in your life that you're missing? Are you missing something that you don't have that you can fix this with? And it's always the same excuses. But when they do it, it's like somebody that eats because they're fat and they feel ashamed for being fat, so they eat more. That's one you've heard before. It's like those that they don't have enough of an esteem to think it's like a woman who thinks that she's not pretty enough, so she will go out of her way to change her body, and it's never enough. And 20 years of plastic surgery, and you have these freakish plastic monsters that we have now that are out there in the world that are not beautiful. They're horrible. They're hideous. But it's never enough. Because the people won't listen to God. They won't give themselves over to God and know that there is something better than this world, something better than the evil of this world. Because that's all that is. It's just evil and darkness. Some people will call it demons. Hey, man, I'll call it demons. I see guys that will do the modifications, the body modifications, that will go out of their way to tattoo themselves up one side and down the other. That, the girls that will get the plastic surgery and, the cutters and all that stuff. I will say that is demonic. Those are lesser demons that get inside. Once they get inside the body, because they don't love the body. They want the outside appearance of the body to look like the twisted soul inside. I don't think that is just the person inside trying to become something different. I think that is a monster. That is a demon inside that makes the outward appearance look like them. I mean, you've got guys out there right now that are modifying their bodies straight up to look like demons. And it's sick and demented. You have these women that this plastic surgery that they get, and you see their faces, and it's like, holy crap, it's demonic. Yes, you see the drag queens. They get drag queens now that just go over the top. It's demonic. It's evil. You see it. And that starts from not having a base of love and caring and hope. Just not listening to God, not trying to be better. And again, that evil snowballs. And that evil snowballs because God lets it snowball. He puts that fury, he puts it all around you, and you choose not to see it. All of this evil and darkness, you're standing in a ring of fire, and you keep getting burned by it, and you keep getting hurt by it, and all you have to do to be able to get out of it is just to pray and ask him for forgiveness and ask him to take you out of it. But they don't. They want to stay there. They want to stay there and hurt themselves and let it all come on them and be miserable. And that follows along with what we've said before, because they choose to believe in a lie because it allows them to live in their own unrighteousness. They want the pain. They want the misery because they don't want to change their ways. It is the worst cyclical thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And it just snowballs. It gets worse and worse. It's exactly like the girls I was telling you about, the guys I was telling you about. They devolve into pure Satanism, pure evil, pure darkness, pure darkness. You see it now. Some of those guys, you see it in their eyes. It's just, they've given themselves over. They don't care anymore. And the worst part about it is some people have been talking about when they made everybody wear masks and you can't see people's faces. All you can see is their eyes. And boy, you can, the eyes are the windows to the soul. I absolutely agree with that. And some people, they are just so devoid of any spark of light now because you're focusing on people's eyes and they are so dark, so much darkness. That's why I can't look at people in the eyes anymore, because it's just too much now. There's so much darkness in people. You can see it. It's just dark and evil and wicked. Ugh. Well, now that I've brought everybody down, be lifted up, man. There's, what is it? I, the Lord, have called thee in righteousness, and will hold thine hand, and will keep thee, and give thee for a covenant of the people, for a light of the Gentiles. We're going to go back to Isaiah 41:10. Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy God. I will strengthen thee. Yea, I will help thee. Yea, I will uphold thee with the right hand of my righteousness. No, let's try it another way. I am a miserable Gentile in the final days, in the last days, whether it's not the last days of the world, whether it's just my last days. I am just a miserable Gentile that has been trapped and snared in the evil of this world, that comes back to God every day, and I say it over and over again. I have surely inherited the lies of this world. And I only ask that he hold my hand. He reaches out so that I may grab his hand and be pulled out of this nightmare. I am not perfect. I am not 100% obedient in his laws. I walk his ways as best as I can, but I know that I falter and stumble. But I ask him over and over again, don't let me fall like so many others have fallen. I see it. I see it every day. And if it is for me to fall and stumble, then Lord, help me to at least find, or to at least help one other person hear it, so that they can be lifted out. Just one. That's all I ever ask for is just one. That's all I ever ask for is just one. Just let me help one other person. Because maybe the person I help can be more faithful, can be far better than I ever was, and that they can go off and they can save hundreds. Wouldn't that be a beautiful thing? All right. I will talk to you all later. God bless every one of you. Take care of yourselves. Be ready and prepared, because evil is snowballing, and they are about to dump that snowball all over top of us. So just be ready. I don't know how to tell you to be ready. Just watch out. Full armor of God. All right.